You look bored. Let me help you with that. Today, I'm going to do an ancient and new craft called Pysanky. It's not a word I made up. It's a real thing. It's an ancient Ukrainian egg dyeing technique. And you can do it by yourself. You can do it in a group. You can do it with anyone you think can handle candles and dye. I've met 50-year-old women that really can't handle it, and I've met 5-year-olds that can, so it's your choice. You can do simple things like quail eggs. Just dye them a single color and put them on your Easter egg tree. They're really cool. You can do really, really bananas, intricate things like this. You can do the progressive dye technique I'm going to show you today. You can also just paint the dye on. If I hadn't told you I painted this on, would you know? Nope. You can do rigid geometry. You could do dots. Dots are popular. So you can start with any kind of egg. Today I have all room temperature eggs. Usually people use white eggs. You can also use, let's say you have a French copper Moran that you want to use a dark brown egg or a lovely Americana. You can use blue eggs, tiny little eggs. Big eggs, doesn't matter, whatever you want. We're using a solid egg to start. We're going to blow it out later, which is fun and precarious, but fun. But we're going to start with a solid egg, and I'll explain as we go why. So, really, this is an old craft. I couldn't tell you when it started, probably in caves. All you need is a stick with a little metal cup on the end. What we're going to do is use this high-tech candle to melt some beeswax. And then we're going to paint on the egg and slowly build up different layers of colors. And then at the end, wash off all the wax and blow out the egg. So, as you can see, I've spent a lot of time doing fancy designs. Today is not that day. Today we're just going to do something really simple to give you the idea. Again, room temperature egg, nice and dry. You can clean them if you want, really doesn't matter. Usually I draw my designs with a pencil and then follow them with the special Kiska tool. Alright, so I'm just going to draw something really simple. It's just a little heart. Now, there's 3 different sizes of Kiska. This is the smallest. Today, I'm going to use the largest, just staying big. It's nice to lay down some paper towels and to protect your surface as you go. We're going to be working with dyes, and if you're outside or on a table you don't care about, fine. But just keep in mind that as graceful as you think you are, dyes find a way to ruin your rug. Alright, you can use any kind of beeswax. If you have some from soap making or just an old chunk from, lubricating your old hardwood drawers, any kind of beeswax will do. I'm heating up the Kiska now. And then I'm going to slowly just chip away at this beeswax and fill up that little Kiska cup. It's really so simple. You're just drawing with wax on an egg. And like I said, once people see the concept, they tend to really lean into it and make it their own. You're going to want to blot your Kiska on an old paper towel or a rag just to get the extra wax off so you don't make big blobs. That becomes a lot more relevant as you do bigger and fancier designs. All I'm doing now is tracing with my Kiska. What's really handy is that the wax tends to get discolored and makes it nice and easy for you to see your design. What I'm drawing are the parts I want to stay white. So traditionally that's the outline of your design, any parts of the design you want to stay white because that wax is going to block the dye. I'm going to set my Kiska down. That's what I've got so far. It's not one I'm proud of, not one I'm giving to my mommy, but it's good enough. Now, this step, I'm going to put on my gloves. As I always say, always gloves. Gloves are really helpful so you don't get those weird looks from women at the grocery store when your hands are 17 different colors. I'm going to take this egg. I'm going to use this handmade dipper thing. You could use anything that functions as a dipper or even a spoon. First color I'm going to do is red. Simply because red is a little bit lighter than the blue, which is my second color. You want to start with the light colors and work towards the dark. So if I were doing yellow, orange, red, that's the order I'd do them in. If I started with red, I couldn't go backwards. It's too dominant a color. Now the longer I let it sit in there, the darker it gets. If I wanted to just walk away and leave this for 10 minutes, I'd end up with a pretty scarlet looking little egg. I use a paper towel as my catcher's mitt. Voila presto, my red egg. Now this dye is a little bit splotchy. She probably needs to be revived and redone. To make a dye, it's just distilled water and it comes in a little packet, looks almost like Kool-Aid. So I've made my egg pink. Now, the next step is to paint the part I want to stay pink with wax. So I'm going to heat up more wax with my Kiska and blot that out. Alright, scribbling complete. And we have a blocked out little blobby heart. The next step is going to be our blue dye. Get my catcher's mitt ready. Going straight down. I tend to do 2 eggs at a time for this reason, so that I could get really brilliant colors. I just go between one egg when it's soaking, do the other, and it's really handy. Dyes come in a ton of colors too. It's pretty amazing. And like I said, just like any other craft, once you start playing with it, you come up with a ton of different ideas. And once you start Googling, oh boy, you're going to see amazing stuff. You're going to have so many ideas. I think one of the things I took away was just how beautiful a single color can look. Just a black or a blue or red or even yellow. It's really pretty. Traditionally, they used just earthen pigments, you know, the brown tones, and they look really, really beautiful. So that is what it looks like at this point. It's not terribly attractive. You can't even see the pink. It's just kind of this homely looking egg. At this point, this is why the egg is solid. I have to heat this up over the candle and gently melt off that wax that I've built up. You just want to just kiss the flame with your egg and then wipe it away. If the egg was hollow right now, the candle would heat up the hollow egg inside and it would crack and you'd be sad. Okay, that's my finished egg. Again, not my proudest moment in terms of design, but you can see the 2 different colors, those nice sharp white lines, and I still have a solid egg. If I wanted to at this point, I could just put this in a nice quiet corner of my refrigerator and let it dehydrate. That's what eggs do when you leave them alone in the refrigerator. They don't turn into some evil thing, they dehydrate. So if I wanted to, I could also leave it in a bowl on the sideboard. That's what Ukrainian women do. They give them to each other as gifts. They put them in a beautiful bowl. They stay out all year sometimes. So those are options. I prefer to blow them out. That way I feel squeaky clean and safe about it. And that's my prerogative. So to do that, we're going to take a clean jar, clean mug, just empty mug, and a mug with a little bit of water in it. And I'm going to take the coolest part of this craft, this little thing, dew basil, don't know what it's really called. They're super cheap. You can pick them up for a few bucks. This is going to blow out the guts of the egg. And then this guy, which is just this little point, which is going to help me make a hole in the egg from which to blow it. Now, I remember spending an afternoon with my grandmother making 2 holes in an egg and blowing like the dickens, and that was a mess, and it didn't go really well. This goes a lot better. So what I'm going to do is just take that little point and start a hole in the top. Now, if I had made a fancy design using a rubber band and a pencil to really get those meridian lines figured out, I would have the perfect top of my egg, but for now I just have to eyeball it. I have a little hole in the top. I'm going to take my empty mug, take my handy dandy egg upside down. Now this has basically a hypodermic needle on the end of it. I'm going to just jab inside the egg, kind of break things up. Now this is the point in the show where I cover the end of this accordion bit and I blow some air slowly in. If you're working with kids, they're either going to love this or they're going to hate this and run from the room and then peek around the corner and come in and love this because it's messy. And even though at first they might be a little bit adverse to it, they tend to just lean into mess. I'm slowly just pumping the egg full of air, which displaces the egg bits down into the cup. You want to go slow and steady, as if I got real ham-fisted with this and blew a whole bunch of air into the egg, I could crack it, because there's only so much hole there for the egg drippings to come out of. Now, were I truly frugal New Englander, I'd probably find a use for this egg goop. It's organic dyes, and I could probably scramble this up and give it to my dog, I guess. But I'm going to go ahead and not do that. Alright, she's almost empty. Promise you it's worth it. I've kept eggs for quite some time, so once they're dry, pretty much it's up to you to break them. But if you store them in an egg carton in the attic, they'll be fine indefinitely. Alright, so I've gotten the goop out. Now I have this mug of water. I'm going to fill up the accordion with water. And now, with my tiny fire hose, I'm going to squirt the inside of the egg. I'm just kind of cleaning it out. This is just my own Beth step. It doesn't have to be done, but I feel like it gets it a little cleaner. And you can see more is coming out, so proves my theory. Alright, and then just blow a little air in there, just again forcing the water out. The last step is to take something you can drain the egg. I like a styrofoam cup with one of these either mini skewers or giant toothpicks, and you can just put that right through that same hole, she said boldly, and let your egg drain out as it will. There you go. So that is your egg happily draining away. I hope you had fun. When your eggs are done, I love go-to glue and just regular jewelry findings. And then I just make a hook out of this, and that's how I did the top of the egg. It's like a little star that I glued on over the hole, and then it has a hole in it. You can put a hook on it, and voila, presto, it's all ready for your Easter egg tree. Take this, run with it, go crazy with it, share with people, and have fun.